data presentation that we were discussing in the last class. So in continuation, the today third one, that is the diagrammatic presentation of data, right? So in previous class we have discussed about the textual presentation and tabular presentation. With the help of different text sentence, how we are presenting the obtained data from research, and when it is the numerical data or any other form textual data also, with the help of tables how we are presenting. So sometimes these two are also not sufficient or effective, so we have to depend on to the diagrammatic presentation of data, how the with the help of diagrams how we are going to present the data, that is going to having diagram. So let us discuss what is diagrammatic presentation of data. Generally in data presentation, these are the generally voluminous, they need to be put into the compact and presentable forms. Generally data presentation, this class deals with the presentation of data precisely, so that the voluminous data collected from the research could be made usable readily and are easily comprehended. There are generally three forms of presentation of data, right? The first one, textual or descriptive, tabular presentation, and diagrammatic presentation. So we are going to discuss about the diagrammatic presentation. So what is diagrammatic presentation of data? This is the third method of presenting data. This method provides a quickest understanding of the actual situation to be explained by data, in comparison to tabular and textual presentation, which is the first two point. Okay, so as the diagrammatic, it is the quickest understands, it is providing the method quickest understanding of actual situation by seeing the diagram, by seeing the images, by seeing the different graphs, we can able to understand what is going on, so immediately it will be understandable. Diagrammatic presentation of data translates quite effective the highly abstract ideas contained in numbers into more concrete and easily comprehensible form, right? That's what sometimes with graph or with histograms, so we when we are seeing, immediately we'll come to know what happened actually, right? So that's what it is, easily comprehensively in comprehensible form. Okay, diagrams may be less accurate, but are much more effective than table in presenting of data. When we talk about the accuracy point of view, they may be less, but it is more effective for understanding purpose. So there are various kind of diagram in common use, like you can see the geometric frequency and the arithmetic line graph, right? So let us discuss the first one, geometric diagram. Geometric diagram in under this bar diagram and pie diagrams come in this category of geometric diagram, right? The bar diagrams are again three types: a simple, multiple, and component bar diagram. So let us understand bar diagram, different types of simple bar diagram. When we talk about the simple bar diagram, comprises a group of equispaced and equiwidth rectangular bars, right? Bar, okay, for each class or category of data. Okay, height or length of the bar reads the magnitude of data. The lower end of the bar touches the baseline, such as that the height of the bar start from the 0 unit, right? So we are going to discuss about the different bars here. So coming to the bar, bars of bar diagram can be visually compared by their relative height, and accordingly data are comprehended quickly. The data for this can be of frequency or non-frequency type. Okay, so in non-frequency type of data, a particular characteristic, say production, yield, or population, it may be various point of the time or of the different states are noted, and the corresponding bars are made of respective heights according to the value or characteristic to construct a diagram, right? So that's what different bars will be there. That's what we have seen into the Excel also. We can prepare that different bar, right? So different types of data may require different mode of the diagrammatic presentation. Bar diagrams are suitable both for frequency type and for non-frequency type, right? The discrete variables like family size, spots on the dice, and spots on the dice, and the grades on in the examination. For such kind of data, the attributes such as gender, religion, caste, country can be presented by the bar diagram. Bar diagrams are more convenient for the non-frequency data such as in income expenditure profile, export, import, and over the years. A category that has longer bar like literacy rate of Kerala, then other category like literacy of West Bengal has more of the measured right characteristic than the others. So bar also called columns, right? Columns will be there. So are usually used in the time series data like food gain produced between 1980 to 2000, decade variation, and work precipitation, the participation that can be done. You can see these kinds of data. If it is there, we can make in Andhra Pradesh literacy rate from in male 70% and female. So when we are going to present this one, it is going to come into the different bars or column. Okay. uh, when it is component bar diagram, the second type, component bar diagrams in the charts in 4.3 we are going to see, right? Also called the sub diagram, are very useful in comparing the size of different component parts, right? The element or the part which is which is which a thing is made up of, right? And also throwing a light on the relationship among these integral parts. For example, sales proceed from the different products, expenditure pattern in the typical Indian family, like a component being food, rent, medicine, education, power, and etc. Budget outlay for recipients and expenditures, component of the labor force, population. So like this we can do into the component bar diagram, right? Color also you can see here. You can see the literacy rate related to the population aged 7 year and above. So male literacy rate, major state in India, you can see in Andhra Pradesh 75.6, right? In Assam 78.8. So uh, here whatever the data it was shown into the table number, this one 4.6 here. So this data, if it will come into the bar in such way, so it will be easy to see that to which one is having more. In numerical form it will be, you have to go through anything. Here you can see in K in 96%, so that is more. So you can see from on the top which bar it is going highest and which bar it is going lowest, right? So easy to understand, that's what. When it is coming to the multiple bar diagram, multiple as the name indicate, more than, right? So multiple bar diagrams are used for comparing two or more sets of data. For example, income and expenditure, or import and export for different years, marks obtained in different subjects in different classes. So that one we can do in the multiple, right? You can see here so many diagrams it is mentioned here, multiple, one more than one, right? Multiple bar or column diagram showing the female literacy rate over the two celsius census years 2001 to 2011 by major states of India. You can see here in Andhra Pradesh how it is 50 to 60, how it is 55 to 65, right? That's what we have seen in the percentage of literacy or female literacy rate of major state in India. So you can see here more than two this thing. So how it is going to helpful very easily, you can predict. So next one is the pie diagram. In the pie diagram is also component diagram, but unlike a bar diagram, here it is circle those whose area is the proportionally divided among the components, right? So it represent uh, it is also called a pie chart. You can see here in the pie how the pie it is in the circle, and here the different things has been mentioned. We'll discuss this one. It is also called a pie chart. The circle is divided into as many as parts as there are the components by drawing straight lines from the center to the circumference. Here you can see here the straight line from the center to the circumference, or the this thing. Pie chart usually are not drawn with the absolute values of a category. The value of each category are first expressed as percentage of total value of all category, right? So a circle in the pie charts, the irrespective of its value of radius, is though of having 100 equal parts of 9.6, right? You can see in 360 to 100 each. To find out the angle, the component shall subtend at the center of the circle. Each percentage figure of every component is multiplied by 3.6, right? An example that of this conversion of percentage of component into angular components of the circle shown in 4.8, you can see here. So here the distribution, right? Distribution of the population in the working status. There you can see the marginal workers, right? In the population 12, percentage 9.9, angular component 36. So you can see here 36, main workers 36, 29.8%, and this one non-workers 73, 60.3, right? So pie diagram for different categories of Indian population according to the working status, right, in 2011. So you can see here marginal workers it is showing. So if it is right, main workers here, and the non-workers, right, non-workers, like that, all is 102. This total is 102. Okay. So frequency diagram, the second major point under the diagrammatic presentation, that is the frequency diagram. Data in the form of grouped frequency distribution are generally represented by this frequency diagram like histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, and the ogive. So let us discuss one by one. So here histogram, all of you know, it's like a column only, right? Here we can see here these are like this histogram. So a histogram is the two-dimensional diagram. It is a set of rectangles with base as the interval between the class boundaries along x-axis, and the width area proportional to the class frequency, right? We are seeing in the 4.5. If the class intervals are of equal width, the which they are generally are, the area of the rectangles are proportional to their respective frequencies. Okay. However, in some type of data it is convenient, at times necessary, to use the varying width of class intervals. For example, when tabulating death by age at death, it would be very meaningful as well as useful too to have very short age interval like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. You can see here. We'll discuss with this one, right? At the beginning of when the death rate is very high compared to the death at the most other higher age segments of the population. So like that we can show in the histogram, right? For graphical representation of such data, like height of the area of rectangular is the quotient of height, right? Here frequency, and at the base here width of the class interval, right? When interval are equal, whatever the interval it is there, if it is equal, that is when all rectangles have the same base. Okay. Area can be conveniently be represented by the frequency of any interval for the purpose of comparison, right? When bases vary in their width, the heights of rectangles are to be adjusted to yield comparable measurements, right? The answer in such a situation is frequency density, class frequency divided by width of the class interval instead of absolute frequency. So in this example we can understand this one. Distribution of daily wages earned in the locality of the town, you can see here 49, 45 to 49 rupees daily earning. Number of earners, they are two, like that. 50 to 54 rupees, three members. like that 115 to 119 three members, right? So if such data, if you want to present, this is going to be like this histogram for the distribution of 85 daily wages earners in locality of a town. So you can see here two members, less than two members, 45 to 49. Then 49 to 54, here three member. Then five member, again less than three. So like that, we are going to number, what is the rupees, the daily wages in rupees here, and number of wages earners, that is the frequency. So here it will be easy to understand by the help of histogram that what is the going to be frequency polygon. Suppose if it is frequency, a frequency polygon is a plan bounded by straight lines, usually four or more lines, right? Straight line, usually four or more lines. These lines are going to useful to draw the polygon, right? So frequency polygon is the alternative of histogram. Suppose histogram, if you don't want to use, or if it is not sufficient, so this one we can do, right? And is also derived from histogram itself only. That's what we have seen here, right? Frequency polygon can be fitted to the histogram of studying the shape of the curve. Okay. The simplest method of drawing the frequency polygon is to join the midpoints of the top side of the consecutive rectangle of the histogram, right? How the join the midpoints here, we can join the midpoints of each and every histogram. Here you can see like this midpoint, this is the main sleeping line here, midpoint of the histogram. If you will join, you are going to get the like that polygon. Okay. It leaves us with the two ends away from the baseline, denying the calculation of the area under the curve. The solution is to join the two end point, thus obtain to the baseline at the mid value of the two classes with zero frequency immediately at each end of the distribution. That's what we have seen here, right? Each end of the distribution. Okay. Broken lines or dot may join the two end with the baseline, and now the total area under the curve, like the area in the histogram, or represent the total frequency or the sample size. So likewise, if you'll do, it will show the total frequency of the sample size. So that's what we have in this whatever the things are there, the same graph, like that we can go for the frequency histo this thing, right? Frequency polygon. Okay. So third one, frequency curve. The frequency curve is obtained by the drawing a smooth freehand curve. Freehand, remember, right? Here we need not to join together the points. Freehand curve passing through the points of the frequency polygon as closely as possible, right? So whatever the points it is there, we have to pass through that frequency, and it may not be necessary pass through all the points of the frequency polygon, but it pass through them as closely as possible. Okay. Then next important thing comes here, the ogive, right? This also very helpful to present the data. Ogive is also called a cumulative frequency curve, right? As there are two type of cumulative frequency, for example, less than and less than type and more than type. Okay. Accordingly, there are two ogives for any grouped frequency distribution data. Right. Here, in place of simple frequency, as in the case of frequency polygon, cumulative frequencies are plotted along with y-axis against the class limit of the frequency distribution. Okay. For less than ogive, the cumulative frequency are plotted against the respective upper limits of the class intervals, whereas the more than ogives cumulative frequency are plotted against the respective lower limit of the class intervals. That's what we can see here in this table. Whatever the data it is given, that can be plotted here. So here this is less than and this is more than, and if you will join together, it is going to be like this. So we'll understand with the example properly, right? So as the shape of the two ogive suggests, less than ogive is never decreasing and the more than ogive is never increasing. So let us frequency distribution of marks obtained in mathematics. So this is one example, right? So here the marks 0 to 20 marks, there are number of 6 students. Okay, so if you see the less than cumulative, it will be 20, less than 26, less than 40, 11, less than 60, 44, less than 80, 58, less than 100, 64. But when it is more than cumulative frequency distribution, we have to start from 0, 0, 20, 40, 60, 80. It is going in decreasing increasing order, right? More than. So likewise, so when you are plotting this data in these kinds of graph, marks in mathematics frequency, right? So this is the less than, for example, less than. So this one the less than table, less than 26 members. So here you can see this is the 20, and this it is going to up to here. Okay, so in this side frequency or number of student 6. So just after 5, 6, less than 20. Likewise, less than 40, 11 members. So you can see here 11 means it will come around here. Hmm, here 40, and this turning point that is showing the 11. Okay, so like that it will go on. Less than 100, 64. So 64 means here, and this is okay. So like that, in more than, how it happened, more than means 64, it will start from the upper here 64, 64, 0. See, in 64 this point it is touching, it is 0, it is in 0. Okay, so likewise if it is more than 20, 58. So you can see here 58 means near about it will be this area. So here, okay, more than 20, then more than 40, more than 86, more than 86, 6 member it is coming here, you can see. And then afterwards these two we are going to join here. So it will reflect both less than ogive and more than ogive, both less than and more than ogive for data given in table number 4.10. So likewise it is going to failful. The third measure point, that is the arithmetic line graph. Under this arithmetic line graph, an arithmetic line graph is also called the time series graph. Remember, time series graph. In this graph, time, the hour, day, day per date, week, month, year, like that data we are going to present. Right? That's what time series. Okay, is plotted along the x-axis, and the value of variables, time series data, whatever it is, for along with y-axis. So a line graph by joining these plotted point thus obtained is called arithmetic line graph or time series graph. It help in understanding the tense, the periodicity, etc. In a long term time series data, let us understand here. You can see the value of export and import in India, right? Rupees in 100 crore. Okay, so 93 to 94, year in 93 to 94, export 698. Okay, and import 731. In 1994 you can see export in 100 crore, how it is going to. So the arithmetic line graph for time series data given in this one, whatever the in 411 it has given, you can see here 1993 to 1994, how much it has export 698 and import 731. So here this is square, it is showing the import, and this line it is showing the export. So this has been fitted. So arithmetic line, this, that's what arithmetic line. So different things it is going to present, same as we can see here in 1314, 1314 low 9000 19,050. So you can see in 1314
the import it is 19,000. You can see this is the export data in 2013 14 19,000 some data we have got, right? So here it is ending, whereas in importer, how it will be in importer, you can see 27,154. So in import, you can see here it is going more than 25,000 and it is near about 27,000, right? So if you will plot, it is also very effective and it is showing the arithmetic line graph, right? So ultimately here we could see that the data presentation, when it is coming into the diagrammatic way, it is more understandable but less accurate. By now, you must have been able to learn how the data could be presented using various form of presentation like textual, tabular, and the diagrammatic. You are now also able to make an appropriate choice of a form of data presentation as well as the type of diagram to be used for a given set of data. Thus, you can make presentation of data meaningful, comprehensive, and purposeful, right? So these three we have understood, that tabular, textual, and a diagrammatic presentation of data. So after the ending of the research, whatever the data we are getting, whether it is observational research or experimental research, that should be present into the effective way so that it can reach to the targeted audience, right? So these three data presentation you are supposed to prepare and write into the exam.